Hi, welcome to Gotta Ping, a careers podcast you should listen to if you want to grow your career online and offline. Hi, my name is Mei Ping, and I'm a professional career coach and international speaker with more than a decade of experience at some of the biggest companies in the world. To learn more about what I do, visit meiping.com. That's meiping.com. All right, let's jump right into today's episode. Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Career Online and Offline podcast. So you are at the right place if you're a corporate professional working in your 9 to 5 and you want to grow your career. So today I have a very interesting topic to talk about, and it was from a couple of questions that I got over the weekend of similar nature, and it is about this, right? Is it okay to work in a career pursue a career or work in a job that is quote unquote not related to your university or college degree? So is it okay if right after you graduate or maybe a couple of years after you graduate, you came to a realization that, I don't really want to do what I have studied and what I've qualified for. But maybe I want to do something else, right? Maybe I have passions and interests in a quote unquote different area as compared to my studies, education, qualification, and licenses. So is it actually possible to transition? So fair question. And based on a couple of clients and LinkedIn connections who raised this exact question to me last weekend, they felt that it was impossible because they were talking to other people who told them that, hey, since you already spent so much money, right, studying for that particular course or that particular degree, master's, PhD, or whatever, to pursue a career in a certain area, it would be a waste and it just doesn't make sense. It's such a ridiculous idea to pursue something else. So if you are feeling the same way, where you truly believe that you want to pursue a slightly different career, maybe in a different industry, a different role, a different function, whatever that is, and you have been hearing from other people saying that, nope, it's impossible, yada, 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 then make sure that you listen to the end of this episode. So personally, for me, I have transitioned across different areas in my career. So I initially started clearly as an auditor and accountant. Then later on, I sort of realized that, I kind of don't like numbers. So what I did then was I gradually moved into a slightly different area, which is kind of still related to what I studied, which was accountancy. So I kind of moved into internal controls and doing a little bit of risk assessment and so forth. But later on, I found that the more I transitioned away to a slightly newer area that maybe had some transferable skills, right? It's somewhat related to what I studied. Then gradually, along my career, along my decade-long career in the corporate world, I eventually got to move to the front line, right? The front office, really involved in business management. So that is probably a role that if I were to just refer to my university degree or like my college degree, probably that is not something that is very, I guess, comes that naturally, because people normally for certain roles and careers, right, there is some sort of like stereotype in a way. So because of that, right, sometimes with my qualification, I have consistently heard over the years that, people telling me that, oh, Mei Ping, why are you pursuing this like random job or this random career that is actually not really related to what you have studied or what you were supposedly good at. But I really wanted to give certain things a try. Like, for example, when me having that accountancy degree, when I started applying for companies such as like Visa, which is obviously a huge global payments company, a lot of people also told me like, why are you trying to get into like a technology company? You're not even, skilled or you're an expert in like the tech space, right? And when I also tried to move into compliance, which is financial crime compliance, anti-money laundering, sanctions, for those of you in banking, you completely understand what I'm saying now. A lot of people also told me, Mei Ping, are you crazy? Why would you go and do something like that? It's totally unrelated, and you will need a different qualification and you'll need a different, license or whatever that is. So interestingly, throughout my entire career, aside from that accountancy qualification and license that I've gotten, I've never actually taken another piece of course, or I have also never took another license, which is kind of interesting given that I've transitioned across multiple areas throughout my career. Like, for example, like I said, I started in accounting and audit, then I moved on to internal controls, internal audit. Then after that, I moved on to risk management, financial crime compliance, anti-money laundering specifically, and gradually really moved on to business portfolio management, working with a lot of relationship managers, a lot of salespeople in the front office and the front line. So that is kind of a interesting transition to a lot of people because they didn't really understand how I made that career transition happen. But let me tell you the secret right now. The secret is to identify transferable skills. So these are skills that are highly valuable in that next role that you want, right? Let's ignore whether your degree is related or not related is one thing, but let's just look at what are the actual skills required to do a job well done in this new role or this new industry that you're actually targeting, right? So the moment you can identify those transferable skills and you feel that, I think I have some confidence, or I think I have the skills and expertise to really give it a try and obviously continue to learn along the way, that is already a very good start to allow you to take that next step, to make that next move and give it a try. Because I think a lot of things that, paralyzes paralyzes people is that there is this whole thing around analysis paralysis, whereby when I talk to a lot of corporate professionals, they think and they think and they think, they are like thinking like 1,000 times, but they don't make a decision to give anything a try because they are looking for that best job. They're looking for the perfect job, which, guys, sorry, doesn't exist, right? If you don't try, you don't know. And when you're trying to look for something that is the best without having even done any of the role, having even, applied or done any internship in that industry or that area, then honestly, these things are just theory because it's all happening in your mind. For lack of a better word, that is you are visualizing something, but you don't actually know what's happening in the industry, or you don't really understand what is maybe happening in the market or a certain job title. What do they actually do? It's just like having that idea of a role that you're interested in. So it doesn't work like that. So like I said, you want to identify those transferable skills, and the moment you feel like, okay, fine, maybe 70%, right? These looks like, these the day-to-day job responsibilities is either I think I have transferable skills or I am keen to learn, then that is honestly, that is good enough. That is good enough to take the next step. If you're waiting to be 100% ready, 200% ready, that is not going to happen because growth is ongoing. You are learning something new every single day. So if you're trying to wait for that like 200% confidence, I can actually tell you right now, it's very unlikely you will reach 200% of confidence because things are changing all the time. Businesses are changing, markets are changing, even the day-to-day job is evolving as well. So you just want to make sure that you don't get fixated into this like best job and like perfect job. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is like really, really related to your degree. Because I think one other thing that a lot of people don't recognize is that in order to do a job well done, aside from the industry knowledge, right, which is very specific to, I don't know, different industries and so forth, in order to do a job well done, the foundation of corporate success, right, this foundation of corporate skill set is actually the same thing: communication, emotional intelligence, aligning expectations with your boss, networking, building strong stakeholder relationship, clear and critical thinking, right? Self-organization, adaptability, creativity, making decisions, right? Time management. All these things are actually the exact same thing, regardless of whichever company that you join, whichever industry that you join. And I think these are the more important transferable skills that a lot of people don't pay attention to. A lot of people actually pay attention to the more technical, hard courses, degrees and all these other things. So focus on the soft skills, focus on the transferable skills that you can rebrand and repackage your value and take that next step and give it a try. That was how I managed to move from one industry to the other. Because if you ask me honestly, do I have any of these like fancy certifications? No, I don't have. But there were many points in my career, particularly when I became a manager, a director, senior director, basically in management and leadership positions. I have managed people who were more highly qualified than me, but their problem was, or potentially maybe they didn't really think about their career planning as much, or they were maybe a little bit more unclear on how they could rebrand and reposition their value in a way that, a new company or a new hiring manager can actually understand. So I think that this is really my best tip for you, for those of you who feel hesitant on, can I do something that is kind of different from my degree, and will I succeed? What if I fail? Yada yada yada. At the end of the day, it's about what are you willing to give a try? Because you could take a job that is 100% related to your degree, but you hate that job every single day because you hate that degree, you don't see a future. That sounds like a pretty miserable career and a pretty miserable life to me. So I don't wish that for you. So what you can do is to really identify what are some of the interesting options, right? Interesting careers that you might want to give it a try, then really deep dive into your transferable skills, right? And see if there is a match. And if there is, then take the leap. If you really want it, if you don't take the first step, then you will never get anywhere. You're going to stay stuck. So with that, I hope that today's episode inspires you to re-look at your entire skill set and really think about what does career planning look like for you, and take the next step, whatever that next step will be. But taking that next step is really the most important thing, because analysis paralysis, the more you think and let this whole thing swirl around in your head, you're basically not going to get anywhere. So with that, I hope this episode inspires you to move forward. Don't just look forward, but actually choose to move forward. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more awesome content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Also, head on over to my website, meiping.com, that's meiping.com, and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for more career growth and personal development tips. You can find the links in the description box below. Once again, you're listening to Gotta Ping, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!